didn't deserve this fate.
Eric Haynes was Zaria's ex-boyfriend and the father of her young daughter, Zanae.
He told the minors to break into the apartment of his ex-girlfriend.
Instead of cherishing, protecting, and keeping her safe, he brought evil to her doorstep.
It's your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 Times, and I'm back with another episode of Hood Tales. In this video, let's take it to Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, to discuss the case of Zaria McKeever and Eric Haynes, a fatal story of jealousy and revenge. Before we get into this video, please hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and join the Tony 2 Times family. Tap that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Also, this video is sponsored by me, Mrs. Tony 2 Times, and my YouTube channel. Make sure you check it out and support me. I'll leave the link to it in the description box. And be sure to share this video with everyone you know. Stay tuned until the end to hear all the details. All right, let's get into it. This is the story of a young woman who was moving on with her life, finding love, raising her daughter, and leaving a toxic relationship behind. But sadly, what she couldn't escape was his jealousy, control, and anger. Zaria McKeever was only 23 years old when she lost her life in what was called a premeditated and orchestrated act. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. This wasn't a random act. This was a targeted hit fueled by obsession and control. Zaria McKeever lived in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, described by her family and friends as kind-hearted, intelligent, and always smiling. She was a young mother striving to build a better future for herself and her one-year-old daughter, Zanae. But behind the scenes, Zaria was dealing with something darker. Her ex-boyfriend and father of her child, Eric Dewan Haynes, was growing increasingly aggressive after their breakup. Zaria left him because of his volatile behavior throughout their relationship. By late 2022, Zaria was dating someone new. Her family said she was finally happy, but Eric Haynes couldn't let go. According to reports, Eric had been taunting Zaria for weeks, following her, calling, texting, even tailing her car.
My sister went somewhere and her child's father was following us.
Her boyfriend at the time was deeply concerned. Zaria had made it clear she was being stalked. On November 7th, Zaria told her boyfriend that she believed Eric had been watching her. What she didn't know was that same night, a plan was being set into motion. In the early hours of November 8th, 2022, just after 2:30 a.m., two teenagers, 15-year-old Fode Kamara and his brother John, 17, kicked in the door of Zaria's apartment. Eric had given them a firearm and told them to deal with Zaria's new boyfriend. According to documents, Eric waited outside in the car while the teens broke in. Inside, Zaria's boyfriend was in the bathroom. When he heard the door being forced open, he panicked and jumped out of the second-story window to get help. But Zaria didn't run. According to Fode Kamara, Zaria confronted him. He told Zaria he wasn't there to hurt anyone and told her to tell her boyfriend to come outside. But Zaria didn't back down. Fode later told investigators she tried to block his path, that she picked up a knife, but instead of leaving, he pulled the trigger, firing 9 times. He even struck his brother John in the leg. Zaria was hit 5 times, including once point blank in the head. Police initially responded to the scene for a report of a robbery in progress. When police arrived, Zaria was on the floor in the front room. Despite efforts to save her, she was pronounced gone at the scene. Inside the apartment, investigators found bullet holes, a damaged deadbolt, and shell casings that matched a weapon found hidden in a car outside. That weapon was the one given to the teens by Eric. Security footage confirmed it all. Eric's car had been seen at the apartment multiple times before the slaying. Surveillance later showed the teens fleeing the scene and Eric driving them away. Eric didn't go home after the incident. He drove the teens, his accomplices, to a nearby extended stay hotel. Waiting there was his sister Ariana Haynes, her boyfriend Tavion James, and later Eric's mother, Alicia Parker. Inside the hotel, they tried to clean up. They talked about hiding the weapon. When Fode Kamara told Valicia what he'd done, her response wasn't shock. It was regret that he had listened to her son. Ariana took John to the hospital to be treated for his injuries. Investigators moved quickly. Eric was arrested.
Police say Haynes admitted to buying a gun and giving it to two teenagers. He told them to break in and beat up the victim's new boyfriend while he waited in the car.
The teens were taken into custody. Ariana, Tavion, and eventually Eric's mother, Valicia, were all charged with aiding an offender. Zaria's older sister, Tiffany, believes her sister tried to defuse the situation because she knew the boys. They were her ex's friends.
Better in her life, and she knew that he was a downfall, and he was, part of the reason why things were going the way they were for her.
Tiffany later said she finally got away from him, moved on, and he just couldn't take it. He was jealous of Zaria for having a car, a better family, a home, and people who actually loved her. Zaria's father said he stayed in touch with her more often after finding out about what she was going through with Eric. He said she had recently planned to move to Texas to escape Eric and start over. Sadly, she never got the chance. In July 2023, the Minnesota Attorney General's office secured a grand jury indictment against Eric Haynes, charging him with 2 counts of first-degree hit and 1 count of second-degree hit. One by one, each defendant pleaded guilty. And then, on April 12, 2024, Eric Haynes was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years.
Brief apology,
I just want to say sorry to the family of Miss McKeever.
which was not enough for Zaria's family. Their nightmare set in motion by a man they say should have been a positive figure in their family's lives.
Instead of cherishing, protecting, and keeping her safe, he brought evil to her doorstep.
Fode Kamara, the shooter, pleaded guilty to second-degree hit and agreed to testify against the others. He was eventually sentenced to 11 years in prison in May 2024. His brother John Kamara was sentenced to about 2 years at a juvenile facility. John's sentence was significantly more lenient because he accepted the plea prior to the case being moved to the Attorney General's office, which occurred because Zaria's family and community members were not happy with how the case was being handled on the county level. So they made their voices heard, and the governor stepped in and made the decision to move the case. In June 2024, Eric's sister, Ariana and her boyfriend Tavion received recommended sentences of 4 and 3.5 years, respectively. Eric's mother's arrest came after everyone else involved was convicted and sentenced. She was arrested in July 2024. At the time of making this video, I couldn't find any further information on her case. May Zaria McKeever continue to rest in peace. She was a mother, a daughter, a sister, and a woman who wanted peace. Her life was stolen not in a moment of chaos, but in a calculated act of revenge. Her story is a chilling reminder: when someone shows you who they are, take it seriously. If it gets to a point where you feel unsafe, document it, report it, because sometimes walking away isn't enough. If you or someone you know is experiencing any form of DV, reach out to local and national agencies and talk to someone. With telling her story, I hope to keep Zaria's memory alive, because her life matters. Eric was angry, jealous, and controlling. Men sometimes can mess up a good thing while they have it, but when things are no longer in their favor, they sometimes can't handle it, especially when the woman moves on and they have a child together. They feel like, how dare you move on with someone else and bring them into my child's life? Some men, not all, believe once a woman has his child, she's obligated to him forever. When the man no longer has control of the woman and there's someone else, their ego takes a big hit. And some men can't control their anger and emotions over the situation, and sadly, it can lead to something like Zaria and Eric's case. As women, we have to be so mindful of who we give ourselves to and have children with. Not all men are worthy of having access in that way, and vice versa for men as well. It's better to take things slow, vet this person, see them at their highs and lows, know what you're getting yourself into. But hindsight is 20/20. If we all knew better at certain stages of life, we would have done better. And sometimes, unfortunately, we just run into pure evil, and by the time we realize it, it's too late. Fam, tell me your thoughts on this in the comments below. Again, may Zaria rest in peace. Alright fam, that's it for this episode of Hood Tales. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and share. If you want to see more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe. This is your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 Times. Until next time.